All right, first point, altitude sickness on your left, Misfits on your right. Looks like we're going to have all 5 players live off the break for both teams. Misfits going to try to play that center brick, shooting snake side. Try to keep the altitude sickness guys out of that snake. Altitude sickness guys kind of slow playing to the small cake in the center of the field. And then crawling all the way up to the center brick. Also going to match up his other brick, shooting snake side. Misfits losing the first body out of the mini W in the back line. Also, center guy in the brick's going to get checked out. He flinched pretty hard. He's asking for a check up on the top of his head. It is a hit. He's going to get pulled. Chris kind of dodged paintballs, getting back out to his spot on the sideline so he can watch the rest of the game. Misfits going to go into the snake one. Player for altitude sickness is going to try to fill a snake. He's going to get shot by the center brick player from Misfits. That player realizing that there's no one out past the home. His snake player just needs to realize that he's starting to. He's starting to move down a little bit. Misfits going to move across the field and get into the other team's brick, but he's going to get shot on the way. Misfits player moving into S3. Still trying to get a shot on that home player by playing the outside. Ooh, player from altitude sickness is going to make a big move on the Dorito side to the tall wedge. Snake player saw him do it. I don't know if he relayed that to the other side of the field. Inside Dorito player for the Misfits going to get shot by that tall wedge. Wedge is going to move into the Misfits side of the field. Here comes the Misfits player into the altitude sickness's snake 2. Altitude sickness is going to shoot the S1 player for the Misfits. Misfits player kind of looking back. He knows somebody's over on the D side, but he's not realizing where. Altitude sickness is going to put a few into his back from Misfits can on Dorito side. It's going to give altitude sickness the first point with Misfits conceding. All right, Misfits on your left, Altitude Sickness on your right. Oh, Misfits making a big move all the way over to the can on D side. He is going to get shot on his way there. That was a pretty far move. Trying to get a point on the board. Still plenty of time. Altitude Sickness player going to crawl from the baby brick in the back center all the way up to the big brick in the center 50. Altitude Sickness filling out to the D side corner. He's also got a guy in the D3 over there. Center brick player for Altitude Sickness is going to get shot. Looks like he took one from the snake insert from the Misfits. Ooh, insert player for Altitude Sickness also going to get shot. That's going to allow the snake insert player for the Misfits to move into the snake, the home to fill over to the insert. Altitude Sickness getting out to the corner, snake corner, so he could at least shoot down the tape. Ref running in to check the Altitude Sickness player in the Dorito corner, going to call him clean. Altitude Sickness moving into the tall brick, or the tall wedge on the D side. Misfits player playing the outside of that brick. I don't know if he realizes there's a snake corner. Now he does. He just shot at him. He's going to move into Altitude Sickness brick, try to get a shot on pack of the Altitude player in the tall wedge, and he does. Altitude Sickness in both corners. Misfits, that's Jason Griffin in the center of the field playing the Misfit or the Altitude's brick. Play over the top, try to get a shot on that D side corner. Altitude Sickness player moving out of the Dorito corner into the D2. Now that running down, he's not going to make it. He's going to take a shot from the Misfits player, and then the Misfits players are going to finish off the last guy in the snake corner and then bring it to a tied game. All right, altitude sickness on your left, Misfits on your right. Altitude sickness going to push that snake corner and the center brick. Misfits also matching up in the snake corner and the center brick. So a lot of shooting going on, not a lot happening. There we go. Misfits player is going to come up into the snake 2. Followed up behind the snake insert player, who's also going to skip out to the snake corner. Not quite sure what the Misfits player in the snake 2 is doing. Doesn't look like he's shooting his gun or anything. Just sitting there and letting the home and it looks like the wire shoot at him. Altitude sickness player going to move into the D3. Misfits player in the D2 going to get checked out and called clean, while the small W player is going to move out to the Dorito corner and then get pulled after getting in there, getting shot. Here comes the home player from the altitude sickness, getting into the snake insert. Center guy from Misfits just shooting that gap in between that snake insert and the snake. As soon as I say that, he switches hands. Now he's back. Trying to keep people out of that snake. There he goes. Misfits player's going to miss him. Let the altitude sickness player get into the snake 1. Misfits player going to take the long run from the snake corner all the way to the D-side corner, and he makes it. Trying to fill over there since they've lost everybody on the D side. Altitude sickness player is going to get shot by the center brick. Also, Misfits player is going to die going down D side. It's going to leave altitude sickness player in the center of the field, who's going to try to sneak up and get a shot on the S1. Brick player is going to realize it, come into the outside, and shoot that center player. He's going to get checked by the ref. He's clean. That's going to leave one altitude sickness player in the Dorito 3. Oh, and then that center player from Misfits is going to get shot. He's going to get a penalty, actually. So that will be pulling the last guy for Misfits. Altitude sickness player needs to realize in the next 12 seconds that there's no one left so he can get the point and win the match. 5 seconds. He's going to slowly walk it in and not get it. Nope, you got to pay attention. You don't pay attention, you ain't going to get that. That's a tied game. We will go into overtime. All right, overtime point. You'll have Altitude Sickness on your left and Misfits on your right. Misfits going to try to double up the center, but they're losing their snake corner off the break. Altitude Sickness living with 5 guys off the break. They are going to lose their snake corner, though. Altitude Sickness also losing their home player. The baby brick player is going to move back, take his spot. Looks like the player in the snake insert for the Misfits got a penalty. Now Miner is going to also pull the center brick player for the Misfits. That's only going to leave 2 of them left, in the Dorito 2 and the brick. Altitude Sickness with the player in the home who's going to move out to snake corner. The D2, the Dorito corner. I feel like there's one more guy. Player for Altitude Sickness getting the snake, looking a little tired. He's just kind of taking his time moving down that snake. He's got to be worn out. There he goes. Brick looked the other way. He is going to put a ball on him over the top. He knows the kill count. He's telling his team, we've killed 3. He knows he's got 3 minutes to finish this off. No need to rush it. Move on down the snake, shooting the Dorito side. He's telling his team which Doritos they're in. Misfits players just trying to hide, hoping to get a shot on somebody. And they're going to shoot the last Misfits player out of the Dorito corner. As long as he's clean, that will be a point for Altitude Sickness, and they will take the match, winning the overtime point. Gonna make sure he's clean. He's calling his other players over to check him. And taking the pack off. Gonna check his pack. Take his pack off to check his pack. Realizes he ain't got anything on him. Gonna hit the button. That will end that match for Altitude Sickness, giving them the 2-1 win. Up next, we have SK Elite versus AC Kansas City Gold, followed by Misfits versus Warped Army. All right, next match in the pit to my left, SK Elite. Pit to my right, AC Kansas City Gold. These teams can start moving into the pits for their next match. Misfits, pit to my left, and Warped Army, pit to my right.
They should spank these Solana teams, shouldn't they?
Who is this? They should.